So Hussein answers that call, and I kid you not, I think that conversation lasted for a good 20, 25 minutes. And I remember there was a pause, and Hussein says, so what you're basically trying to tell me is that I suck. And he says, that's exactly what I'm trying to tell you.
Live behind decisions I chose. Peaks feel good and the valleys get low. Chains for the tires in the rain, hail, snows. Like this everywhere that I go, everywhere that I go.
Basically, around this time of year, at the end of the year, we want to share some of our stories with you of what's actually been happening. And we run across so many people, and we run across some interesting situations. And sometimes they're very stressful, sometimes they're funny, and sometimes it's just nice that you're able to actually do something for someone that they really kind of appreciated. So we're going to run through a couple of stories that happened to us in 2022, and hope you guys enjoy. So grab some popcorn and enjoy.
We do have a lot of good stories, very fulfilling stories, but I feel like it's not as juicy, so we'll...
Yeah, like a lot of times we've actually helped people buy and sell real estate. Like they bought their first property with us, and then, you know, they turn around, they end up selling their first property with us, and we help them buy a nicer property. I mean, we have a lot of good cool stories like that, but I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to hear any of those, right? Because you expect us to do that.
Stuff.
Yeah. All right. So one of the stories I want to tell you guys about is something that started off earlier this year. So earlier this year. In fact, if I really look at it, it started the year before that. So when we were actually on a road trip, we drove from Toronto to Vancouver. Long story, very short, that was it. But this guy ended up contacting us from an area that I work in North Pickering, and basically started to say, hey, we want to buy a house. Can you help us? I tried to reach out to him a couple of times and whatever while we were on the road. It didn't happen. When I got back and we're in full swing of things, I did connect with him again, and it just wasn't happening. And then out of the blue, he calls me again, leaves me a voicemail and says like, hey, I want to do this. We call him back and basically like, hey, listen, we could definitely help you because we know the area really, really well and you want to upgrade. So we kind of figure out some of the stuff that they want to do, which is fine. And we're at a point right now where the market is extremely hot. Like there's not that many listings available for sale and things are going fast, everything in multiple offers. Usually how we want to start off with people is we want to try to figure out like, are you pre-qualified, this and that. So everything kind of started off a little bit weird. We run across some clients that are very strong. Like, I don't want you really knowing too much about me and whatever else like that. He's like, no, I'm good. I'm good. Don't talk to me about my finances. I'm good.
So it
I've
just
checked.
Seemed like he had a lot of money.
Somehow recently.
and a lot of money. And we went around and I think he must have shown them a total of how many, would you say, like 40 homes at least?
Yeah, somewhere around 40 homes and anywhere between like 1.5 and like $3.5 million.
$3.5 million. Yeah. And I remember there came a point where I said to Hussein, drop him. Because they're looking at all these homes and they're not really putting in any offers. And like Hussein said, he's always trying to make sure that whoever he's working with is qualified, because at the end of the day, you are putting your reputation on the line as well. And we knew nothing about his financials. So we were just going around looking at homes. And
there was actually a similar style house that they liked up in a gated community in Uxbridge. And it was a similar house that they missed out on the year before. And I was like, I don't get it. Like, this is everything that you guys wanted, the same model, same everything. Like, I don't know why we're not making an offer on this house. It didn't end up happening, but we did end up finding a house that they actually liked. And we built a rapport with the listing agent. We ended up securing this property, and then we need to turn around and actually sell their property because we're in a hot market and we needed to move things quickly. Before all of this happened, we basically went through the property. We told them what needs to be done, what needs to be painted, like how you need to actually set up. We even drop off boxes for our clients. So we even had everything ready for these guys to do their thing. So when we turn around and we want to sell their place, they actually had nothing done, which is not the worst thing. Like, you can get things done. That's not a problem. But we just thought maybe they will be a little bit further ahead based on the guidance that we already given them.
I think from the time that they bought their place to the time that they had their place ready, there was at least like a 6-week gap, it was huge, which is quite significant.
Yeah, it was huge. I don't actually remember exactly what we thought we were going to be able to get for that property. Do you kind of remember?
I think when we first started showing them homes, I think we were thinking like 135, 14.
Yeah.
And I think that whole time in his own mind, he thought his property was worth like north of 1.5. Yeah. So I think he had an unrealistic expectation to begin with, even in the hot market.
Like I think even in a hot market, you said like he thought 1.5 and I was like 1.3 or something like that, 1.35, and I think he was okay with it. Like, but he just thought his property was worth more, which everyone does, which is normal. It's fine. Yeah. But so what ended up happening is that we go through our process, and honestly, I'm a huge fan of our process. It's taken us a long time to figure out what the right way of actually marketing a property is, through a lot of trial and error. I'll be honest. But anyways, we have a very good process. We did our thing. We had the property staged to the nines. Like, it looks sick. We have the best photographer, videographer when it comes down to real estate media. And we had all of that stuff done really, really, really well. We have the best social media company, and they positioned everything really, really well. Like, I don't think you can poke holes in what we're doing because it's really, really, really solid. But we did all of these things and we launched the listing. And what basically ended up happening was we got a bunch of showings into the property. And I think we got some offers on the property at the same time. And at this point right now, you can already sense that the market is starting to come down. This is basically kind of around that April-ish, March, April-ish kind of time where the market is softening. So I think we listed it first and we held back offers on the property, and we got some offers on it too. And I think we got offers of like 124, 125, somewhere in these ranges. And they didn't want to take these offers. And these offers were actually pretty decent offers at that point. And what happened is that the market really started to slow down, and we really noticed the number of showings were going down. A lot of houses were failing during multiple offer presentations and whatnot. So I got really concerned. And when I represent you, I'm with you. So when I notice that you've made this big purchase and we need to sell your house to maximize, and I'm noticing that the market is coming down, I'm going to be very aggressive with you in the sense of like saying, hey, we got to do something. I don't want to sit stagnant. Like, let's do this, let's do that. Like, we'll think outside of the box. In fact, we have a billboard in the area where we basically had artwork prepared with the guy's house to go out on a billboard.
And I think at that time, he had already started questioning the marketing strategies, or what are you doing to sell my home? I remember like a couple of phone calls or text messages asking, what are you doing to market my property? Like, I remember there was a reference about, well, your face is showing up when my kid is playing his video games, but my house is not showing up. So he's starting to work less with us and more against us. And it started feeling like we were justifying what we're doing to market his
instead
property.
of working as a team.
Yeah. So
there was actually a breakfast conversation. So I was in a hyped up routine. Yeah, I was in a hyped up routine. I did my workout. I did everything. And I'm sitting there having my breakfast and he calls. I take the call. And
this was 7 a.m., which is, it's just a perfect like scenario in my head because we're super hyped up in the morning. We've already worked out. We were having a breakfast, and 7 a.m. we were talking about what we're going to do for the day. And the client calls, and I said, oh, okay, well, let's just take the call. Let's see what's going on, because it's super bright and early, and we want to make sure that they're not overwhelmed, and whatever we can do to kind of like ease their, anxiety. So Hussein answers that call, and I kid you not, I think that conversation lasted for a good 20, 25 minutes, and it was almost one-sided, where the client was basically bashing you and telling you how you're not doing a good job. And he went on and on and on about how this is not good, this is not good, this is not good. And I remember there was a pause, and Hussein says, so what you're basically trying to tell me is that I suck. And he says, that's exactly what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, like, I don't know. See, like, we have more of a collaborative approach with all of our clients. Like, we're in the same thing, right? So we want to try to work together, but we really felt like we got railroaded over here by this guy. But you know what? We still continued. Like, it sucks to be like constantly punched in the face when you're really trying to help somebody out. But it is what it is. We kept moving forward. And what we found out is that I guess he was interviewing other agents while the house was on the market. Like, I think he told me he interviewed like 50 other agents while the house was on the market. And there came a point where basically
we got fired.
So he basically just said, I don't want anything more to do with you, and we're done. Very weird story. And I don't mind sharing this. Like, we terminated the listing because he doesn't want to deal with us. Fine. We got rid of the listing, and they listed with somebody else. And guess what? The listing looks exactly the way that we positioned it. Like, exactly. Every single angle is the same. The staging is the same, whatever. I'm like, these guys stole our pictures. Like, you're not allowed to use someone else's pictures that was previously listed. Like, I actually own the pictures once I have the pictures taken. As much as my photographer thinks he owns them, I own them. But anyways, like, I own those pictures when it's done. And another agent just can't take those pictures. So I really thought that they used our pictures. But you know what these guys did? They knew that we are super freaking stars, man. They copied exactly what we did. They negotiated with our stager, at the time our stager, I fired her shortly after this, basically to keep the furniture in the house exactly the same way that it was. Got their photographer to copy exactly the same angles that we had. Exactly to the T. Everything was the same.
Yeah.
And that's what they actually ended up using. So what happened is that they ended up selling the house for
1240?
No, 1150.
Oh no.
They ended up selling the property, I believe, for 1150. Yeah, and we had offers up to, I think, even verbally, like 13. I think we on paper we had 124, 125 on paper. and they didn't want to take that. And they thought we were doing a bad job when we were at 124, like ready to close, firm deal, these type of things. So it was a very interesting experience to deal with with this situation. And listen, I don't completely blame the client either.
No.
The thing is that we were in a changing market, and this is what we're kind of geared towards doing. Okay, we've been around that markets change and we know how to react to them. And where I got so aggressive with them is because I've already been in these situations. I know where things are going to kind of go sideways. Yeah. So I'm like, we're looking at inventory numbers every day. We're looking at sales numbers. We're looking at what's happening, how many more listings are coming onto the market into that area, and we got to do something about it. And actually communicating with our other colleagues that have listings in the area as well. So we had a good idea of what was going to happen here. So I think that they really shortchanged themselves. I don't blame them. They panicked. Yeah. But usually it's better to stay the course.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest lessons that we learned even at that time was, like you always say, if you're buying high, you're going to sell high. If you're buying low, you're going to sell low. So if you're out there shopping for a home, just at the background, start preparing your home so you're ready to sell as soon as you've bought. Exactly. So you don't have to. I mean, the market's unpredictable. It's going to happen. What's going to happen? But just be ready as much as you can to do it at the same time.
Yeah, but it's all good. Hey, this is part of the business that we're in, and it is what it is. And it was a very interesting story that we thought you guys should hear.
I don't know if they're going to appreciate it.
It's all good. All right, guys, we got more stories, so stay tuned.
Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold.